2021. I hope the new year started, you know, on a good note for all of you, irrespective of where you are, where you find yourself this evening watching this live. If you're in the US, in the UK, in Europe, in Africa, wherever you are, I really appreciate you guys. This is my first live of the year. Actually, this is my second live ever. All right, I did one live late last year, and needless to say, it wasn't as fun as I expected. It's never easy when you're just staring at the camera and a blank wall behind you, and you have to be in character. You have to be, it's kind of not my natural. But I think this year I plan on doing a little bit more of these. I will get better as I go along, and I hope you guys will stick around for the ride because I do have a lot of stories to tell. Um, Again, I hope you guys are having a great year so far. It's 2026. It's January 29th here in the beautiful Banjul. It's been uh, a great year so far. I mean, we're healthy, we're alive. God is good, right? So I kind of wanted to come on first of all to thank you guys for uh, just for following the page. Build Africa now has been. I mean, I created this page about what 5 months ago, and we're now at 1,000 subscribers. Okay, that is a big deal. I don't know what I'm doing to have 1,000 people just pay attention to what I'm doing. But all praise to God. It's really amazing because when you do make that decision to be vulnerable and come out in public, it's never easy, especially for someone who's not really quote unquote um, on social media. I mean, I am on social media, but not really out there like that. So it's always very uncomfortable at first, but sometimes these things it feels like a calling, and that's something we're going to talk about in this live. I feel called to do what I'm doing right now, to talk to my brothers and sisters, no matter where you are. If you are from this African continent, my message is for you. So one of the things we're going to talk about in this live as well is who my message is for, because obviously it's not for everybody. Um, but I'm really excited about what 2026 has to offer. Um, I do have some really special things planned because I've given it a thought. I really want to do better with this. I want to, put out more content that is more valuable content. Because putting out content for the sake of content doesn't make any sense. You each time you put out something, you have to make sure that it's doing something for someone. It's bringing someone some kind of value, in one shape or another. So again, thank you all so much. 1,000 subscribers is just an amazing, amazing feat for me. There are people on here with 1 million subscribers. I don't know how they got there, but I'm really, 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 really grateful for the 1,000 of you that are following me, and those of you who are watching who haven't subscribed yet. Please do us that honor and follow along. Um, Now that we have that out the way, I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit about why I started the page in the first place. Um, what is it that I'm trying to? What message is it that I'm trying to pass on? Right. Um, let's see here. I made some notes. Right. So kind of why I started Build Africa Now. The whole idea behind Build Africa Now, to be honest with you, is really to one, tell my story. That's the first thing, but it's really not just about me. It's about us coming together and winning as far as the content is concerned. That's really a big deal for me. Us coming together and winning together. I realized when I took that leap, um, and made that decision to leave the United States and move back to the continent along with my family. It came as a shock to a lot of friends and family, but there's so many other people who reached out to me and said, "Hey, man, I really like what you did, and I want you to walk me through how you did it, so I can follow suit." It just hit me that there's so many people that felt exactly how I felt. Right? You've been in the U.S., you've been in the U.K., or anywhere away from home, anywhere that doesn't feel like home. You've been there for over 10, 15, 20 years, over 30 years for most people. Um, you feel like you've achieved the best you could achieve, right? Career wise, um, family wise, education wise, and things of that nature. And then all of a sudden you wake up and you still feel empty, right? A lot of us feel that way. You still feel empty in spite of your achievements, in spite of your accomplishments. You still feel like you still have to prove yourself to someone. You don't know who that someone is, but you feel like you still have to prove yourself. That was me 5, 6 years ago, right? And in a sense, when I look back in retrospect, I kind of get the feeling that I feel like I was kind of in mourning, right? I feel like I was mourning the life that I didn't have, mourning the life that I wished I had, right? You know, the goals that I had for myself that I hadn't hit, and it just felt like everything was over, you know. And you were just waking up and just doing it all over again. You go to work, you go to school, you come back, take care of the kids, and then the wife goes and then comes back, and then you just do it all over again. And it just, life just felt redundant, and it felt like something was missing. And one of the things that I would do to kind of jumpstart a spark in myself, right? I was obviously into media, into photography, so I would travel and take pictures and things like that. But traveling the African continent was the best thing that I could do the last 10, 15 years, because that's what I did. I traveled over 26 countries. I mean, I've been everywhere, and it just lit up something in me. It lit up a spark that I never knew I had. And then not only that, it kind of gave me a sign where initially I felt like I was being weak. Living in the US, people will make you feel like you're a failure. They'll make you feel like you've lost, and then you're looking for an easy way out. That's how sometimes people will make you feel. But is it really, right? Is it really? Because I'm not seeing it as a failure. I'm seeing it as a pivot. And I think that's the most important part about this conversation that I wanted to have with you guys tonight, is that if you're feeling that way, if wherever you find yourself, if you're thinking you need a restart, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I've come to the realization, I mean, I've always known life was short, but it hits you that how short life is when you turn 40 and you're getting older and older, and you see that you don't really have that many strong years left ahead of you, right? And then you have kids that are growing up that have demands, they have needs, they have to go to college, they have, all these things that you have to do. So to me, I saw it as a pivot. So no, I don't see Africa as a weak move. I don't see moving to Africa or investing in Africa or considering Africa as a failure. I see it as a rebirth, because that's exactly what Africa did for me. We'll talk about how I picked the country, and how I found myself in the Gambia. We'll talk about that later. And if you guys have any questions, I apologize. I'm using my mobile phone because I tried this multiple times with a webcam and it just didn't work. So I'd have to really look close to kind of read the questions, but I'll read your questions a little bit towards the end of the live here. But yeah, to me, I see it as a strategic move. Um, and 5 years later, and this is why I never joined YouTube when I moved, but I followed a lot of YouTubers when I was moving. Other people who are doing exactly what I'm doing now, they helped me to get to the point where I am. As a non-Gambian, I didn't know anything about the Gambia. I didn't know as much as I needed to know, right? So I needed to follow other YouTubers who were doing it. This is such an excellent medium, guys. I mean, it's better than universities for most people, right? I learned so much from other YouTubers, and when I found myself here, I didn't feel like I was lost. I didn't feel like I was not home, right? I felt very much at home. Um, we've talked about how the beautiful hearts that Gambians have and how welcoming they are. So I've never felt out of place here. But the reason I say it's a pivot is that it's a hack, right? It's a hack to achieve the goals that you've always wanted to achieve. If you've always wanted to be a boss, you've always wanted to be a leader, you've always wanted to be quote unquote successful from a monetary perspective, and you felt like you were boxed in in the West. I don't see why this isn't an option for you, right? 5 years ago, living in the US, I never would have imagined, you know, heading a company with over 80 employees. That never would have happened to me. I'm just being honest. I worked for IBM for 6 years. Um, I mean, my background is in tech, as you all know. Um, that's what I was. I would wake up, clock in, go into, sit in my cubicle, back up some databases, and do and things like that, and then drive an hour back to my house and try to spend as much time with my family as I could. But here, I get to enjoy that entrepreneurial, lifestyle that I've always wanted. Is it easy? Absolutely not. It's not easy. Do you get to give up some things? Absolutely, yes. You get to give up a lot, right? But when you think about the aspect of home, when we talk about homegoing or homecoming or whatever, however you want to put it, what does it feel like when you're home, right? When I was, and I know for a fact that when I was living there, I didn't feel at home. I was happy. I had family around. My mom still lives in the US. I still visited. I was just there a couple months ago. So this is not a matter of cutting the cord and disappearing. This is not me shaming the West. This is not me saying America is bad. Absolutely not. This is me saying at the point at which I am in my life right now, this is the best idea. This is the best option for me, right? And I know for a fact that there are thousands of people out there who are exactly where I was 5, 6 years ago. And I know that Africa would work for them as well. Okay. I'm not saying everyone needs, because there's a lot of mixed narratives out there. Some people happen to think I'm anti-West. Absolutely not. Okay. I've spent more time in my lifetime in the US. So I'm not stupid to say, I will have another video to say how blessed I've been to have spent most of my life in America. And I'll have another video where I get to praise America for what it's done for my life. But this is about Africa right now. What that country prepared me for 25 years is what I'm going through in Africa right now. And I know that it will be the same for you guys. And I know that the one thing that is missing in between is that person that tells you this is how to go about it and this is how to go about it. Because a lot of people don't have that. And that's why most people come and it doesn't work out and they feel like they have to go back, even though most of us are not happy. Okay. So it's almost time for, oh, never mind. That's my bedtime reminder on my phone. Okay. So I just wanted to put that out there, guys, that I don't want you to look at Africa as a weak move. I want you to look at Africa as a strategic move. All right. Look at it as a pivot. You're not leaving, you're just adding on to what you already have. And if you look at it from that perspective, it will help you to get over some of the negative aspects of living on a continent. Some of the things that you may not necessarily enjoy just because one, you're not used to it, you've been away for so long, and some things just takes a lot of getting a lot of getting used to, right? And I think that's what I wanted to get out there. I'm just gonna glance here and see if I have any questions. All right. Someone is asking how I love the Gambia. Oh, I love the Gambia. The Gambia is beautiful. Um, okay. All right. Um, so what's next on my tab here? Africa as a second chance. So I talked about that already, where I see Africa as a second chance at life. Really, just that renewed hope, that renewed energy, and that renewed zeal. Something that you find yourself losing when you've been out there for so long. You've done the same thing for a long time, and you're seeking a way out, right? And we're not the first to do this, guys. People have been doing this for ages, right? Americans, as we speak right now, they're moving to Puerto Rico. They're moving to um, so many other countries in South America, right? They're moving to Europe, Portugal, and there's so many other places. But when you consider what is happening in the U.S. right now when it comes to immigration, I don't want to make this political. I do have opinions, but this is not going to be a political platform. But you can't help but think, you know, would that happen if you're home? Like, it things like that don't happen when you're not in a place that you consider to be home. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it at that. All right. Um, and there's going to be fear, there's going to be doubts, there's going to be judgments, there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. But I believe, but believe me, once you step in that direction and you make that decision, you'll be amazed what the universe will do for you. It'll open up the road for you. It'll bring a lot of opportunity to your way, and you just have to be open minded. You just have to be open minded to these opportunities and see what can come out of it. All right. What else do I have on this? So I want to talk about a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about what to expect, what you're going to be expecting out of Build Africa now moving forward. I think because um, the idea is so polarizing, because a lot of people are interested in the journey, a lot of people are interested in the results. I think that's something that you're going to see a little bit more coming on this channel. And it's just not going to be my story. I think I'm going to incorporate other people's stories as well into this channel. So eventually you would come on here, you would see stories from other people who have made similar moves, who are doing well or are still adjusting to the continent. I wanted to be able to tell those stories. There will be some traveling involved. I do travel a lot. Um, going to other countries on the continent. I really want to show what the continent is capable of. So you will see some content from Senegal, you see some content from Ghana, Nigeria. There's going to be a lot of that coming up as well. So I'm really planning a great lineup of content for you guys, something that you guys can watch and get your questions answered. So I'm really encouraging each and every one of you, those who are following and those who are on this live right now, just stay locked in and be excited for some of the things that I have coming up. And the last thing I wanted to address is why I feel called to be the one to do this. And there are so many other content creators out there that are doing that are in a similar niche. But I think what makes me so unique is just my overall experience. Right? There's so many content creators on the continent that are showing the beautiful continent for what it is. But not too many of them come from the perspective that I come from, which is you guys' perspective, right? Living in the West for so long and making that transition and sticking to it. I think that is a unique perspective that I think it'll bring you guys a lot of value. Um, and I feel because I get a lot of calls, I get a lot of emails, I get a lot of people reaching out and asking, hey, what are your thoughts on this and what are your thoughts on that? What's your experience with this and what's your experience with that? I think that my story would definitely go a long way to help someone out there to be able to make their decisions on not just relocating but investing really, because that's something that I'm doing a lot here. I'm doing a lot of investing, I'm doing a lot of traveling, I'm doing a lot of visiting of other countries and things of that nature. So those are some of the questions that I can answer for you. And then YouTube also is a way of marketing. It's a way of marketing my business, marketing some of the things that I'm working on. So I do plan on using that as a tool to bring attention to some of the things that I plan on working on here. All right. Um, let's see. I kind of want to go to my channel and I guess go over some questions that I've not been able to respond to. So okay, my thoughts on Gambia versus going to Ghana. That's a great question. Um, I think it depends on where you are. I think it depends on where you are. Obviously, budget is a huge decision maker. All right. It depends on where you are, and Ghana is beautiful. I'm not gonna lie. I've been to Ghana multiple times. It's a place that I'm really, really attracted to. Ghanaians are just beautiful. But Ghana is also, Accra in particular can be quite expensive. I think one of the things you have to really consider is your budget when you're trying to relocate. You're trying to make a move that is so big. You want to make sure it lasts you know, as long as you want it to last, right? So your budget is something that you really have to look at. If you're leaving America to go to Ghana and your budget can only take you a year or two, I would say find another option. Okay, find another option because I've heard a lot of stories of folks who moved to Ghana and then had to leave a couple of years later just because like it was just so expensive. And I think that's one of the issues we have with the continent right now is some of these major cities are becoming so expensive because we have so many people moving in from the West and they're just jacking up prices, especially housing, things of that nature. So it just makes life so expensive. Um, but if you do have the budget and Ghana is the thing for you, absolutely. I would say Ghana for sure. Hello, Jackie. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Thanks for joining the live. Hello, Lamin. Right. So Ghana is definitely up there on the list. Um, One of the things that was really important to me, I had so many things that I had to take into consideration when I decided to make that move, guys. Obviously, you guys are already aware. I have a huge family. I have a wife and three kids, so that's a family of five, and then I have my mother-in-law as well. So that's literally a family of six. So when you're making a decision like that, you have to think about the finances. You have to think about um, the schools. You have to think about healthcare. There's so many other things you have to think about, not necessarily for how perfect they're going to be. One of the biggest things that attracted me to the Gambia was where it's located. It's so easy for me to move around, and I thought that that was a huge deal for me, right? I can be in Spain in the next couple of hours, literally, right? If I want to go to Portugal, I can be in Portugal in the next 4 or 5 hours. I can be in France in 4 or 5 hours. I could literally be in DC in the next 8, 9 hours, right? Well, back when we had the direct flight from Dakar to Washington, DC. Um, so that was such a big deal for me because again, I was not ejecting myself from the US. I still have my family. I still have other things that I have to take care of out there. So I needed to be in a situation where if I needed to be out, in a short period of time or in a short amount of time, I could do it. So that to me was a huge deal. And Gambia is such a perfect location for that. The second thing about the Gambia that I love is it's still a wide open slate, guys. There's so much room for opportunities out here. There's still so much that needs to be done. There's so much that needs to be built in this country that it's just so wide open. Are there issues? Absolutely, but there are issues everywhere in the world, right? I mean, let's look at America right now. What's happening out there, right? Amazon is gearing up for another layoff of about 16,000 people. They just laid off maybe 15,000 a couple of weeks ago. I mean, that's 30,000 in less than a month. Okay, so there are problems everywhere, but the Gambia is just the perfect startup point. And in my opinion, based on how I was looking at it, I was not thinking about it from the mindset of this is where I want to be. I'm thinking about it from okay, this is where I want to land. Right? It's called soft landing, and then I could literally be anywhere. Right? I could do business anywhere. I could do business in Guinea-Bissau. I could go to Sierra Leone. I could go to Nigeria, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Togo, you name it, Mauritania, and places like that. Like it's just such a strategic uh, location. Let's see what else we got here. What's my favorite thing about the Gambia? And that's from yeah. What's my favorite thing about the Gambia? My favorite thing about the Gambia. Oof. I love that it's such a peaceful country. That to me is a big deal, especially when you're considering moving to Africa. You have to look at the politics. You have to look at the politics. With all the coups that have been happening in the last couple of months, you have to consider, politics is something that you definitely have to look at. And then I think one of my favorite things is the lack of red tape when it comes to investing. That was the biggest thing for me because the last years that I have now, I need to stop saying the last years like I'm dying or anything like that. But I think that with the point I am in my life right now, I can't be doing things for the sake of doing it. I have to. There has to be some level of intentionality to it, and I think that if I pick a niche and I narrow down to an idea and I say, okay, I want to be able to invest in this, I don't want to experience red tape from the government perspective. I don't want to experience, uh, people asking me to bribe them and things of that nature, or else, things like that. I think that's one of the most beautiful thing about the Gambia. If you want to invest in agriculture and you want to meet the Minister of Agriculture tomorrow, you will get the opportunity to do that. There's an open door to where you can have access to that individual and discuss with them with regards to your investment. That's one of the most beautiful. It's just awesome. Um, n- I can't say that about my own country, right? Yeah, I mean, you have people in your way intentionally, willingly wanting to impede your progress, right? But I don't, that's not something I experience here. I don't know too many people experiencing that here. Are there problems? Again, yes, there are problems. There are situations where, people find difficulties in accomplishing their goals and things like that. But that's everywhere, guys. That's everywhere. But the Gambia is wide open. You can come in here, you can do the things you want to do as long as they're within the legal boundaries. And I think that that's just one of the things. And it's still a developing country, so you can't expect things to be perfect, right? There are going to be some weaknesses, and some of them that will present opportunities for you. And there's so much more that you can accomplish here. Okay, thanks for that question. Let's see who else we have on here. Oh, I got 10 people, guys. 10 people. That's awesome. Yeah. So, again, thank you all so much. Thank you all so much for following. I don't know if I have any more questions. I can wrap this up right now. What is your favorite country in Africa? That's an interesting one. Favorite to visit? Uh, I would say Namibia is just beautiful. Um, Nigeria has a lot of character. Ghana culture, the Gambia simplicity, um, Cameroon, the continent, and Morocco. Morocco is just colorful. I love Morocco. I love Marrakech. It's just a colorful city, and yeah, those are some of my top countries to visit in Africa. All right. Well, if that's all the questions we have, I think I'm gonna leave this right here, and I'll do this again as soon as I get a chance. I really appreciate you once more for just following and paying attention and supporting the journey. There will be more coming up. There's a lot of great content that I have planned for you guys, and I wish you all well wherever you are. Praying for good health for all of you and your families, and I hope to see you again in the next live. Thank you guys so much. All right, bye.